Okay, welcome to week 2, and we're going to start with the week 2 agenda. We're going to be finishing up PowerPoint this week, so you should have completed all of the videos from my IT lab for both chapters 1 and chapter 2, and be ready to show what you can do with PowerPoint this week. We're going to be doing a few new things this week: a discussion board, a project, and a grader project on my IT lab. So let's first start with the discussion board. So in the discussion board, you are going to research planning for disaster. Now this is your own personal disaster. You lose your flash drive, or your computer goes bad, you lose your computer. How are you going to get back the data that you need? Homework, personal files, anything like that. So how do you back them up? That's what the discussion board is going to be about. So research, how do I back up my personal data? There's devices that allow you to do that. You can do that in the cloud. But how are you going to do that? This backup video on here is a really interesting backup video about how Microsoft creates their next generation of cloud servers and cloud devices and how they do this. This is a really interesting video because the way that they house and use their servers is completely different from what we've done in the past. So I would watch that and then participate in the discussion board, which allows you to post an original post as well as a response to different students. When you go into this, what you will do is you have backup planning for disaster. To put your original post in, reply to this first question, and that will put your original post in. It should be enough detail in it so that I can understand what your backup plan is. Your original post has to be in by Friday. Your response to another student's post by Sunday. Your response has to be more than, yes, I agree, no, I don't agree, I would do that too. It has to have some substance. If you like what they're doing, what do you like about it and why? If you disagree with them, what do you disagree with and why do you disagree with it? We go back to the agenda. Your next thing is Project 1. The Project 1 instructions are here. So you can look at the instructions. You're going to begin with your project that you did last week in the Wi-Fi safety and add to it. So you'll notice that the first 4 slides you've already got created. You're just going to do 4 more slides on safety for you and children and secure passwords, as well as a slide that lists your sources. You're going to need at least 3 sources. One of them should be the book. We are not worried that you can use APA or MLA to cite your sources right now. We're just going to ask you to put in the address of the link, the name of the web page, and the date you accessed it. That's all that we're asking for on the source page. I would copy and paste that link into your PowerPoint. That way, when you do your next project, you will be able to easily get back to that web page so you can put in all the information you need for those sources for a citation. You're going to make some changes to it, and there are some specific instructions. If I always get the question, well, I know all about this, do I have to use sources? Yes, you do. I still expect sources because nobody knows everything there is to know about online safety. Wiki pages like Wikipedia are not considered valid sources. If you are using them, go to the pages that they suggest. But they are not considered valid sources because anybody can edit those. Even though they have good information, it's not a trusted source. So that's why we say that. Once you've completed your project, you can go back to your Module 2 where you submit it. And there's one more thing that you want to look at before you submit it. Any of the projects have a rubric attached to them. The rubric tells you how I'm going to be grading the project. In fact, you will get this back and it will have the grading on it. So you'll be able to view this with the grading on it. So by having this before you turn it in, you can kind of grade your own project before you turn it in to make sure that you have everything that is on here. When I talk about speaker notes, the one thing I wanted to put, they should be in the notes section of the slide. where you add notes to it. I don't want it on the slide itself. I don't want it narrated. It needs to be an actual speaker note that you would put in as you did in the assignments that you did previously. So you want to review this before you put it in. Okay, the last thing you're going to be doing is in My IT Lab, and it is the grader project in week 2. Some things that you need to know about this grader project. When you go into it, there are 3 steps that it talks about. You first of all need to download the starting materials. So you will download the files. It is very important that when you download this PowerPoint file that you're working on, that you download it yourself. You don't use a file that someone else downloaded. So you download it yourself, you work on it yourself, and you submit that exact file. It is marked as yours. It is tied back to you. This is one of the things that they use to validate that you did the project. So if you're using someone else's file, it'll come back and tell me that you're using someone else's file. So make sure you're using your own file. It does have the instructions. The instructions are on the front. If you want a document with the instructions, there is a document you can download and print or just read and use that. So you will work on that PowerPoint, perform all of the instructions. When you're done, you will upload the completed file, and then you will tell it to grade it. So after you upload the file, and this is going to take a while, so I'm not going to go through the thing. You would choose the file, find that file that you edited, put it in, and then once you did that, you would finish and submit for grading. After you've finished it and submitted it for grading, you can go back to this project and view submissions. And this will tell you all of the times you've submitted it and what your grade was on it. You can submit it as many times as you want. So if you find out that you have errors, you can go back, edit that file, and resubmit it again. Now, I would keep working with the same file, making the changes that they tell you. I can click on a particular submission and look and see what I've got on there. So I'm just going to click on this submission, and it gives me some different reports. So this first report tells me how many points I got on each step. So I could look at this and see, well, where did I lose my points? And find out exactly where I lost those points. So I lost points on the table, where I was typing in the table text. Oh, and I also lost points on that first slide that I had to put in that had a title-only layout. So that may be enough information for you. If not, you can do the summary report. The summary report just gives you what you missed, which is kind of nice. You can click on the arrow next to it, and it'll tell you some information about that. So it said after slide 1, a new slide with the title layout was not edited, and where I lost points on this is in row 3, column 1. I did not enter the text this year as this year. I did not enter the text last year as last year. Again, that may be enough information for you. You also have the availability of a marked up report, which will show you the presentation, and you can go to the slides, and if it has an X, there was a problem. So I could look at that, and it tells me information about this. So it said that I didn't have this, a title slide wasn't added. So I can look at this and see, I didn't add this as a title slide, so what did I do? Then you can open up your PowerPoint, find those particular slides, make the corrections, and resubmit it and get a different grade. So you notice I submitted it several times. The highest grade is the one that's kept. So keep that in mind too. So that's what you're going to be doing in week 2. I should note that for the grader project, you will need to use Office 2013 for this, because there's some design templates and features that are not in older versions. If you do not have Office 2013, you don't want to purchase it, your one option is to go to the computer Open Computer Lab and use the computer here. It probably will not take you that long to complete this project, so it won't be something that you'll be spending a whole afternoon there.